Hi everybody, it's Mariana with 3 Peaks Classroom. I am an elementary school teacher and I love to make helpful videos on YouTube for other educators such as yourself. Last month I did a whole series on guided reading where I gave suggestions on how to just get started, especially if you're feeling nervous. What does an ideal guided reading session look like, and my guided reading strategies. So if you're not sure what to work on with your students, I have a whole cheat sheet that you can download. That's all covered in the videos that I did in January, but my focus for the month of February and for the next few weeks is a topic that was very highly requested on my Instagram, and it was kind of like all things management. So how do you deal with student behavior management, classroom management, time management, resources or books, things that you have in your classroom? How do you manage all of those things? And so for the next few episodes, I wanted to go into detail talking to you about all of those management tips. In today's video, I want to share with you a secret that I learned about behavior management and classroom management that I wish I had learned earlier in my teaching career. Okay, so just to give you like a frame of reference, so my classroom was pre-kindergarten, so I was teaching 3 and 4-year-olds, but they were all students that had something that they were working on. So that could be like OT delays, like fine motor skills, gross motor skills. They were maybe working on speech and language. A lot of them maybe were working on behavior, or maybe we had some students that had cognitive delays. But either way, almost all of the students in the class, they all had something that they were working on in the classroom. But the best part about teaching this group of students is that no matter what their challenges were, almost always by the end of the year, we saw progress with all of these kids. So I would start the year off with all types of behaviors in my classroom, and I would have students that were verbally aggressive, physically aggressive. They would have, really bad anxiety, low confidence, or maybe they were flight risks. All kinds of behaviors, you name it, I saw it in my classroom. I've been punched, I've been kicked, I've been bitten, I've been spat on, heck, I've even been vomited on. So I have seen it all in my years teaching in a preschool classroom, but then also in my grade 3 and grade 4 years. But the most challenging student that I have had was in my 6th year of teaching when I was teaching preschool. And this actually happened to be the last year that I taught preschool, because after this one particular year, I just felt in my heart that I was ready to move on. So this student was the most challenging. So the student that I had in my class was actually in the process of being diagnosed by a autism specialist that we had. The parents consented and the psychologist was coming in and doing all these series of assessments. This student that I had was nonverbal, non-communicative, aggressive, was a flight risk, and not potty trained and could not feed himself. So in all honesty, this student was not at all a good fit for our program, because this student really required specialized attention and would have benefited and would have progressed so much sooner had the student been in a specialized program. But regardless, he was in my class, and I have learned a lot on how to deal with these managing behaviors because of this one student. So it was with the help of this psychologist that we were able to finally break through with this student and make progress after 11 weeks. 11 weeks of intense training and repeated requests. We were finally able to get this student to respond to a request. And that simple request was to sit on a chair, to literally touch his bum to the chair, and then he would receive his reward. Now, why am I sharing that with you? Because this is the teaching tip that I wish I had learned earlier in my career that helped me make a breakthrough with this student. And this is what the psychologist told me. Everybody in life is motivated by 2 things: money and pleasure. That's it. That was the psychologist's advice that helped us to make a breakthrough with this student. It sounds really simple, and in theory, it is really simple, but it's not, because it requires you to figure out what are the 2 motivating things for your students. What is their money? What are they willing to work for? What motivates them to do the work? And what is their pleasure? What are some things that they get pleasure out of? So for this one student, what was really motivating for him was little tiny itty bits of school supplies. So binder clips was massive. Binder clips, paper clips, pencils. This student would take those pieces and line them up. And if you took a piece away, watch out, because I said before, this student was very aggressive. But using binder clips, we were able to motivate this student to sit on a chair. And the longer that he sat, we were able to work with him And, using his money, he was able to earn more of his school supplies. I know a lot of you are starting your student teaching practicum right now in the spring, whether that is your first round or your second round. But I want you to take that teaching tip into the classrooms with you. Figure out what motivates your student. What is their money? What are they willing to work on? Whether that is, classroom currency that you have in your class or a reward of some kind. What is something that will really motivate this student to get the job done in your classroom or to manage their behavior? So in my classroom, I actually have a currency system. So it literally is a money that the kids are motivated by, but it works really well because I have a whole economy system where we have jobs and we pay rent, and then they can use that money to buy things from a market and stuff like that. If you're interested in all about my classroom economy system, I will link the video down below. It's one of my most popular on my YouTube channels. But it is a system that works really well in motivating students because they are motivated to get that money in order for them to buy things that bring them pleasure. But also it's motivating because if they misbehave in any way, then that money is taken away as well. Again, I go in more detail in my classroom economy video, but those are the two things that really motivate students, money and pleasure. So if you're not interested at all in having a classroom economy system or a reward system in your classroom, that's okay. But just keep that advice in mind. Figure out what motivates your students. What is their money? What are they willing to work for? And what gives them pleasure as well? Because if you have those two pieces of knowledge in your back pocket about each of your students, then you can absolutely motivate them to get any work done, and you can manage their behavior as well. All right, so there it is. That is my teaching tip that I'm sharing with you that I wish I had learned earlier in my career. If you are a student teacher watching this, first of all, welcome to the profession. And I hope you guys have a successful practicum. I would love to know your thoughts as well on how your practicums are going. Also, if you are a veteran teacher, I would love to hear what your thoughts are on my teaching tip that I wish I had learned earlier. Have you figured that out in your classroom? What motivates your kids? Let me know in the comments below. In the next video, I want to share with you 5 classroom management strategies or behavior management strategies that I use in my classroom all the time that work for me. So if you haven't subscribed yet, you might want to subscribe so you don't miss that next episode. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you guys are having a great day, and I will see you in the next episode. Bye.